You're listening to Radio Long Island City, recorded at our studios near Hell Gate, 9 kilometers north of the Harbor Hill Moraine. And now, the Observatory. The Observatory, Wednesday the 14th of January, 2026. It is 24 days after the winter solstice. It is 65 days before the spring equinox. The sun rises today at 7:18 a.m. Solar noon takes place today at 12:05 p.m. The sun sets today at 4:52 p.m., civil twilight ends at 5:22 p.m., and nautical twilight ends at 5:56 p.m. The length of daytime today is 1 minute, 28 seconds longer than yesterday. The moon is in its waning crescent phase and is 15% full at midday. The moon rises today at 4:08 a.m. The moon sets at 1:01 p.m. The new moon will arrive on Sunday, the 18th of January. These are the predicted tides today for Horns Hook. In the middle of the night, low tide, 12:06 a.m., 15 centimeters. In the morning, high tide, 6:34 a.m., 1 meter 19. In the afternoon, low tide, 12:59 p.m., 6 centimeters. In the evening, high tide, 7:17 p.m., 98 centimeters. In our shared realm of plants and animals, we are in that post-Christmas season when the streets are littered with discarded pine trees. In gusts of wind they blow about, rolling along the sidewalks and into the streets, urban tumbleweeds. But we can also see that many people took advantage of the New York City Mulch Fest. If you look at the street tree beds around the neighborhood, you can see many with a fresh application of Christmas trees that have been ground into mulch. How nice to see the trees don't land up in landfill, but have a new life enriching soil and returning to the natural cycle. Commemorations. On this day in 1699, the government of the colony of Massachusetts proclaimed a day of fasting to atone for the excesses of the Salem witch trials. 12 jurors who had been part of the trials signed a statement of apology for their role in the trials, and the magistrate, Samuel Sewall, stood before his congregation while his pastor read a statement expressing his shame for his actions. A reminder that periods of mass hysteria eventually pass and more reasonable voices come back to the fore. On this day in 1981, the Federal Communications Commission allowed broadcasters to air as many commercials as they wished per hour. It was the beginning of the dismantling of regulations in broadcasting under Ronald Reagan that would eventually result in the repeal of the Fairness Doctrine at the end of the decade. Our current media environment was hugely shaped by these changes. Today we remember Dudley Randall, born this day in 1914. The poet was founder of Broadside Press and was Detroit's first poet laureate. He was one of the strongest voices in the black poetry movement. His press published work by many black writers, including Audre Lorde. His style could be disarmingly colloquial, ordinary language distilled to its essence. In one poem, he writes about not being told what to write or being pigeonholed. A poet is not a jukebox for someone to shove a quarter in his ear and get the tune they want to hear, or to pat on the head and call a good little revolutionary, or to give the Kuumba Liberation Award. Remember Dudley Randall today. We also remember Gary Winogrand, born this day in 1928. He was one of the greatest street photographers of his generation, and his images of the life of New York City are incomparable. He died sadly of cancer at the age of 56, but his legacy remains. And finally, we wish a happy birthday to LL Cool J, born this day in 1968 in Bay Shore on Long Island. He was one of the earliest rappers to break out to wider success. We appreciate him for his breakout album Radio in 1985 and for his work in film and television. But we want to particularly honor him today for his foundation Jump and Ball, which offers athletic and team-building programs for young people in southeastern Queens every summer. Happy birthday, LL Cool J. And that is the Observatory, Wednesday the 14th of January, 2026.